Afternoon, Dr. Anija and my fellow friend. My name is Kiat, and my metric number is 23003763. And today I will present on the topic of my assignment is sustainable community development, which is also my title of this assignment is from the global goals to the ground. So this also show that how I explain the sustainable community development bridge the ambition and the action. So in this presentation, I will first explain the main context of my assignment. This will explain the key concept related to the community development and followed by the practical framework and Malaysia example. So the first one, the sustainable community development aim to improve the quality of the people while protecting the environment and ensure the long-term benefit for the future generation. So according to the reference books that I refer is the Weller, so it's that the social inequality and the source and the loss of the community identity. This is mainly because many development decisions are focused on the short-term economic benefit rather than the long-term impact. So therefore, sustainability is an important approach to guide the community development in a more responsible and balanced way. Moving on, in this slide is summarized up the global context of the sustainability discussed in my assignment. So in 2015, the world introduced the Sustainability Development Goals, or we call that as SDG. So in this goal aim to reduce the poverty, protecting the environmental and improve the human well-being in a balanced way. So however, the global goals are alone are not enough. So as the discussion in my assignment is the sustainability must be implemented at the community level. Without action from the local community, the global sustainable goals cannot be achieved. Alright, here I will continue to summarize the background and the main idea from my reading. So this slide is show that the real progress being at the local level. So sustainability community development act as a key link between the global sustainability goal and the real action in community. So in this idea of the sustainability become important, and after studies such as the limit to grow, that is show that the unlimited development could be cause the serious damage for the ecology and the social, and this will bring them to breakdown. So the problem like climate change, the pollution and the poverty are interconnected and cannot be solved separately. So therefore, sustainability requires to integrate solution through the local planning, decision making and the strong community participation. Alright, in this slide, I will explain the key concept of the sustainable community development. So that this topic is come from two main pillars. So the first pillar is the sustainability. So sustainability is meaning that to improve the human life today without the reducing the ability of the future generation to meet their needs. Sustainability is not only about the protecting nature but also is about improve the long-term human and the ecology well-being together. So it also emphasizes it the long-term thinking because the activity that bring short-term benefit may cause many serious environmental and the social damage in the future. So the second one is the community development. So what is community development is that is one of the main idea to focus on the improving the social, economic and the environmental condition through planning, cooperation and participation. So in based on the reference book that I refer, the Wellers is explain the effectiveness of the community development in strengthen social bond, local identity, and ensure the community members are involved in the decision making that are based on the local needs and value. Alright, this slide is further explain the key concept of the sustainable community development as a combination of the two pillars. So sustainable community development is combined by the sustainability and the community development. So this is aimed to create a community that is our environmental responsibility, social justice and economically stable. So there is not single perfect model of a sustainable community because each community have its own history, culture and environmental condition. So in this approach recognize that the community are part of a larger environmental, economic and social system. In one area will affect to the other. So therefore sustainable community development must be flexible and adapted to the local context. After explaining the key concept, in this slide is summarize up the practical framework. So to move on the sustainability from the theory into the practice, this slide is identify the 6 practical action area. So these area are environmental, land use, transportation, housing, economic development, and social equity. So this action help is actually help them the community turn up the sustainability idea into the daily planning and decision making process. So they are provide the practical guidelines on how community can improve human well-being while the protecting in the environment in the long term. Alright, in this slide is explained by the key concept related to the environmental and the land use. So the environmental is the one of the most important action area that the community should be reduce the pollution and preserve the natural resource by improving the transportation system, building, land use and the energy efficiency. So that the pollution and resource destruction directly affect the human healthy and a long-term community well-being. So moving on is the land use. So what is land use is one of the idea that the planning focusing on the smart growth. So with a promote compact the development and the mixed land use to reduce the urban sprawl. So the your land use is planning can increase the traffic problem, infrastructure costs and environmental damage. Alright, in this slide is continue to explain again the key concept relate to the transportation and housing. So transportation has a strong impact on the energy consumption, pollution and daily life. So in this topic that we are suggest to reduce the dependence on the private car and encourage the walking, cycling and public transport. Well, moving on is the housing is closely related to the sustainability because where the people live will affect how far they travel and how much energy they will use. So by the reference book that I refer from the Wellers is say that the emphasize is important of the affordable housing located nearby the workplace and the public transport facility like the MRT station and the bus stop. Alright, moving on is the economic development. It should be focused on the long-term stability rather than the short-term profit. So according from the reference books that I refer, the Wellers say that the community should be support the local business, the green job and the environmental response industry. So moving on is the social equity. It is essential because it's the sustainability is impossible without fairness. So Wellers explained that the community must be ensured and equal with the access to housing, service, opportunity and environmental safety, especially for the vulnerable and disadvantaged group. On in this slide is summarized up how the concept are applied in the real life context. So in this slide is showing how the SCD apply in Malaysia and particular through the community based on the theories. Alright, let's look at this slide. This slide is I will explain the real life application of the sustainable community development in Malaysia based on my assignment that is the community based from the tourists. So this is a development strategy way the tourist activity are planned, operated, and managed by the local community. The community development should be sustainable and must not ignore the local culture, history, and the nature setting. So, because this is an element from the identity and long-term well-being in a community. So, for example, in Semprona, that from Sabah, there is have more homestay program allow the tourists to live with the local family and experience traditional village life. So this homestay provide the village with a direct source of income without damaging their culture, traditional, daily routine, and local identity. So this clearly reflects that the development should be enrich community identity rather than the overpower it. So the second example is in Sarawak. So in Sarawak, they have community based on the terms is seen that is traditional longhouse that we call in Malay is rumah panjang. So based on this, the tourists can learn about the community living, local craft and culture practice. So these tourist activity are small scale and community managed. So which can follow by the reference book that I refer is the Wellers that's agree that the sustainable economy development should be focused on the local involvement rather than the larger scale development that can damage social structure and community life. Alright, let's look at this slide. It shows that how community based on the theories connect directly to the sustainability principle. So first one is the community based on the theories support that the sustainable economic development. So for the local residents such as the homestay operator, tour guide, boat operator and small business owner receive the direct from the income. So in conclude that the sustainable economy should be prioritize local business and long-term stability rather than short-term profit. So in second one, we can look at the social equity. So when the local community are involved in the planning and manage the tourist, economy benefit are distributed more fairly between the community. So finally, community based on the theories strengthen the community development by encourage participate, cooperation and local decision making. So the efficient development should be rather local needs and value. So in this way, theories become a tool to strengthen them in a same social and be more closer and rather than the weakness it's on in this slide is more focused on the environment protected as a part of a sustainable community development. So based on this, we must include the protection and restoration of the natural ecosystem. So this idea is clear seen that in Malaysia, especially in the marine tourist areas such as in Sabah, that the Semprona, there are many beautiful islands that we must protect it. So in this area, local community that are directly involved in the managing activity such as diving, snorkeling and boat service. So this community involvement that to help protect the coral reef and the marine ecosystem. So yeah, this depends on the natural ecosystem for the living host, and they are more likely to conserve and protect this resource for the future generation. So this example is show that the community based on the theories is not only about the economic benefit but also create a balance between the environmental protection, culture preservation and the long-term community well-being. So this reflects back the reference book that I refer, that is the Wellers, that is saying that the sustainable community development should be place-based, people-centerized and environmental friendly. Alright, this is showing that the community based on the theories in Malaysia are support several sustainability development goal SDG, that is included the SDG 8 that is about the economic growth, and the second one is SDG 10 is focused on the reducing the inequality, and next one is SDG 11 that is aim to build a sustainable city and community, and the last one is SDG 14 which is focused on protecting the marine life. This presentation, that is the sustainable community development is a crucial approach for improving the quality of the life while protecting the environmental and ensuring the social equity. So sustainability have to be long-term thinking, integrate planning and strong community participation. As discussed through this presentation, sustainable principles can guide community development in many areas such as in land use, transportation, housing, economic transportation, economic development and social equity. So based on Malaysia example of the community based on theories, it's clear that the sustainable community development can preserve local culture, natural resource and improve the community livelihoods at the same time. So this is not just a theory, okay? So but it's a practical and efficient approach to build a strong, fairness and more sustainable community. Thank you.